A virtual measurement is a pretend measurement, if you like. It's a measurement you didn't actually take, but one that the software generates from a measurement you did actually take. Remember that problem we have with hydrologists naming the same thing twice? And to get around it we have data sources and measurements? Let's build a virtual measurement to compute the difference between stage from gauging results and stage from a recorder. So, as for all measurements, a virtual measurement belongs to a data source, and first we need to identify our measurement in the Measurements Editor and Manager. The data source we need to use is gauging results. We'll need to name our virtual measurement, so we add new measurement, and let's call it stage difference. We can choose measurement is virtual and applies for all sites, and in this case the virtual measurement will belong to the data source, so it will be available for any site that has data for the data source you've chosen. Alternatively, you can select measurement is virtual and is stored with the data. In this case the virtual measurement will belong to a particular site and will only exist at that site. Because there may be several virtual measurements associated with the data source, you need to give it a VMD set to identify it. Clicking here will tell you what numbers are already in use, and you can choose the next number. Click here if it's a subvariable, that is, a separate time series that has the same data source as the main variable, but is collected for a different purpose, like data from a backup recorder for example. Then you'll need to choose a subvariable ID, and the tricky part is making sure the number you choose hasn't already been assigned to that data source. That's all we need to do here, so we'll save and close. Now that we've identified our virtual measurement, we need to tell Hydro how to calculate it. Now we get to play at being a computer scientist and write a small program in a language called vimsim that will tell Hilltop how to calculate the virtual measurement. So to define our virtual measurement, we go to Data, Add, select our site. We're going to use Alphabet River at Crossword. Click OK. Select our data source, which was gauging results. Click on the Virtual Measurement tab and select our measurement name, which was stage difference. Click OK. Here we write our vimsim program. So, first up we need a get statement, which tells Hilltop where to get the data it is going to use for the virtual measurement. We will need two get statements in order to get both readings of stage. Firstly, get stage to get the stage data from the recorder. Then we need to get the stage data from the gauging results. Now the data read from the get statement needs to be stored in a variable name, and the default is to use the measurement name. This is fine for stage, but no good for stage water level as the name can't contain blank characters. To get around this, we add an as qualifier to change the name of the variable to something without blanks. And when you use a qualifier, it's good practice to put the measurement in quote marks. If the site name, data source or measurement has as or from in it, vimsim will think it's a qualifier and do crazy things to your data. The quote marks will protect it. Next we need an assignment statement to tell Hydro what arithmetic to do on the data. This will be the difference between stage from the water level readings and stage from the gauging results. And lastly we need a put statement which tells Hydro how to write the result. Now that we've written our virtual measurement, we can check the syntax. Manager will let us know, in no uncertain terms, if it understands what we have written. And we have no errors. Those two words are a joy to behold, so we can click Save. Now if we hit F5 to refresh Manager, and look for our virtual measurement on the tree control, we can click on it as usual to see a graph. If there's a problem with the virtual measurement you've made, you'll get an error message when you try to graph it. We've got a few data points and they're all 0, which tells us there is no difference between the stage from the gaugings and the stage from the recorder, which is just what we want. I want to show you another example, and this time we'll look at nitrate loading. Nitrate loading is a virtual measurement created by multiplying nitrate concentration by flow. So we need to go to Edit, Measurements, select our data source, which will be total nitrogen. We need to add our virtual measurement as a new measurement, and this will be nitrate loading. I've talked about the fields for units, image on the tree control and colours in reference to using the measurement editor, and they apply equally to virtual measurements. And we'll add our units. Our flow is in cubic metres per second, our concentration is in grams per cubic metre, so our nitrate loading will be in grams per second. You could add a divisor too if you wanted to. I don't want to specify anything else, so now we can define our virtual measurement. As we are attaching our virtual measurement to the data source, we can open the virtual measurement editor directly from here. First up, our get statement. We want to use our nitrogen concentration data, and we'll also need our flow data, so we need a second get statement. In a case like this, where we're using discrete and continuous data, we always get the discrete data first. Here, the flow will be interpolated at the time of the nitrate measurement. Now for the arithmetic, which will be multiplying the two together. And we'll need our put statement. And now we'll check our syntax. And what have we got? Line 1, cannot assign a variable because the measurement has blanks in it. Use an as qualifier. Oh, and I just talked about this too. Okay, let's call it total nitrogen as nitrate. And I need to change my arithmetic from total nitrogen to nitrate too. Okay, let's check the syntax again. Great, now we're on the same page as manager, so we can save and close. Let's find our measurement on the tree control, and as usual, if we click on the measurement, we get a graph. You could then use this data in Hydro to tabulate the amount of nitrogen in the water each month, or do another virtual measurement to scale the nitrate loading by the cost of fertilizer. This is pretty useful information for a fertilizer regime. For now though, I'll leave you with those examples and the world of possibilities that is virtual measurements.